Hi, Grimish here with a tutorial for EVE Online. This tutorial will be how to set up planets for extraction using the planetary interaction mechanics. The reason I'm showing this particular setup is over a couple years of doing PI, I've noticed there's some more and less efficient methods, and a lot of people have asked me how to set up planets, and I've found this to be the most somewhat casual, player-friendly way of setting up your PI chain so that you can have minimal effort and make a decent amount of money. The way this setup is going to work is I'm going to show you guys how to make what I call a strip mine planet, which focuses on harvesting one type of PI good, and then you feed the output of this planet and 3 others like it into one planet, making P2s or P3s, so that you're kind of on a moderately skilled character with level 4s in most of the PI skills. You can kind of, on a self-contained character level, manage one raw materials all the way up to P3s, and then you can go export those and sell them. So there's a couple other ways you can set up planets. I may make another video talking about some of the pros and cons of those, but I'm going to show you pretty much how to set up a strip mine here. So the first thing we're going to do is open the scanner. I've cheated a little bit. I know what I'm going to find on this planet, but I want to make precious metals, so I'm going to start by looking for noble metals. And you'll see right here, I like this banding for my scanner. I live in wormholes, if this signature didn't give it away, and I find that this banding gives you a pretty decent idea of where to get stuff, because if you open it too far on the top end, it looks like there's nothing anywhere, and if you open it too far on the bottom end, you can kind of run into issues there. So this is what I like. I've also cheated a little bit. I know I'm going to build right here because I've scouted this planet out, looked for other networks for other players, and this is a pretty empty spot of the planet for this particular P1. So I'm going to go ahead and plop down my command center. I'll just throw it, right here, seems okay. Confirm that down. Now this character can go all the way up to, oh no, this character can't. I'm going to go up to the 4th level here for this extraction planet. You could go up to the final level. I don't have Command Center 5 on this planet because it's kind of marginal. It's more useful for other planet setups, but I'm going to want almost all of this power to make this planet work. So we're going to upgrade that. Now we're going to use a very simple design, and it starts out with a storage facility, and I want to put this storage facility kind of in between these 2 hotspots so that I can move my extractor around, and that'll make sense in a minute. So I'm going to plop down 1 storage unit, and this is going to be the hub of a design that I'm going to make. And I'm going to surround this storage unit with a bunch of barren basic facilities, or just basic for whatever planet type. And I'm going to go ahead and first start out by just plopping out 6 around this guy as soon as I can get my placement right. And the reason I'm doing this will become obvious in a moment. And you want to get them as close as you can, especially on bigger planets. This planet is actually very small, so it's not as big of a concern. So I'm going to get those 6 down. Then I'm going to go grab a spaceport. I'm going to toss this spaceport up here. I'm going to grab an extractor. I'm going to plop that right there. And I'm going to grab 1 more processor. I'm going to plop it there. And now I'm going to link all of these to the central storage hub. And you'll see I've used about half of my power grid. This is why it's going to be important to have upgraded all the way. I've used about half of my power grid. So when I click that in, we've got kind of the basics set up. What's going to happen next is I'm going to set this extractor up to target the white hotspot zones. And I'm going to feed everything straight into the storage unit to be a buffer. And then that storage unit's going to spit everything out to these factories, and then the factories are going to spit everything out to the launch pad. And what I'm doing by having this buffer and this launch pad is making sure that given the variation in cycles, I'm not losing any product due to running out of space. And I'll show you that in just a second. So now that we've got everything set up, let's get this extractor started. I'm going to do noble metals. And I'm actually going to do a 7-day cycle because I'm planning on being pretty lazy with these planets. And now you'll see my power usage over there is really starting to spike. It's a lot of power being used. So that's why you really have to be up to about level 4 to really effectively use PI stuff. If you're in high sec or low sec, you almost need to have your skills maxed out, unfortunately, because of what's available on the planets. But in null sec and in wormholes, this is just about enough. Okay, so you can see here on the curve of this is the extraction curve. It's showing me over the next 7 days how much is going to get spit out. You can see early on, I'm going to get a ton of PI material, and then it's just going to taper out really lowly, down to really low amounts. And so that's where this buffer is important, because even with this many factories, I probably can't handle all of this stuff in the cycle time I'm going to have. So the buffer lets me build up extra so that if I'm over extracting at the beginning of the cycle, I'm putting the buffer into the storage unit, and then my factories can slowly chew it down and spit it out to my launch pad. Okay, let's install that. Now we're probably going to run into a problem pretty soon that I'm going to address first. This link right here, the link between the extractor and the storage unit, I'm going to need to upgrade this. And this is another reason why we want this extra buffer here in the power grid. We're going to upgrade that. Well, it's a small planet, so it didn't make much difference. But if you're on a gas giant, if you're on a bigger, really anything over about 4,000 kilometers radius, these links can get really, really intense to try and upgrade them if you have long stretches, and that's why this design entirely focuses around this very compact design. So let's submit that. Now let's go. We're going to route the products here. We're going to create a route to the storage unit, get it set up, submit it. Now we're going to go through, and we're actually on each of these factories, we're going to set the schematic for the precious metals, because I can't tell the process or the storage unit to actually send it here until I have the schematic set up. So I'm kind of setting things up in reverse. So let's get too far down, precious metals, create a route, go to the launch pad. This is the joyful clickfest of PI, setting everything up the first time. One nice thing about this setup is once you get used to it, it takes about 4 to 5 minutes to build the whole thing once you have your setup kind of mentally squared away. And this part is the most tedious part. But you only have to do it once. And when you stop and think about the fact that this is pretty much free money, it's not that hard to do. And not that much time. Okay, let's submit everything. Now you can look at the links. You can see on those little links, they're all flowing in the direction that the connections are going. So we can see that everything's going right from the factories. Now we just need to set up the supply to the factories. So we'll go here. We'll go to the storage. Oh, we need the routes. Sorry, the routes. And we're just going to start creating those routes. Oops. To all the factories. Get them all set up. Would be nice if this interface worked a little better. But again, you only have to do it the one time. Okay, I think I got everything there. Yep, all my little dots are flowing back and forth correctly. So there you have it. That's how you set up a strip mine. All you have to do for maintenance is kind of come back. This launch pad will probably actually fill up in about 3 days as opposed to the 7-day cycle I have, which is fine. And you can tune the cycle to match whatever your play style is. I think 2 days is about the most efficient. If you can actually spend the time, you can manage to fill this thing up in a 2-day cycle pretty well. But all you have to do is every couple days, once a week, come back, check to make sure that the hot spots haven't moved. If the hot spots have shifted, move your extractor heads around and then restart the cycle. Show up and pick up your goods. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. If you want to see the factory setup, please check out my YouTube channel. You're already on this video, so you should be able to get to it pretty easily. There's another video that shows how to build the next step in this process, which is the factory planet setup. So again, thank you. This is Grimish. Good luck with PI.